Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user Deleted. Me, 26 female with my husband, 32 male, considering skipping vacation after he accused me of cheating. My husband, John, 32, and I, 26, have been together for 5 years, married for 5 months. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but have been really happy over the course of our relationship and very much in love. For me, he's the one, love at first sight, all the jazz. And I think he feels the same way about me. With all that being said, we have had a really hard last 7 months. It all started because a couple of months before we married, I started a new job and one of my male co-workers, 30s, I'll just call him co-worker, went out of his way to be my friend and I naively thought that's all he wanted. He told me he was sober, celibate, blah blah blah. Of course, this was because he was previously an addict, which I had no idea and would soon find out about. I had spent the last 3 years in academia with my head in the books and just didn't see what was going on. John didn't like co-worker, although he had not met him, and didn't want me to talk to him. I thought he was being controlling and I said I wanted to be co-worker's friend. John reluctantly agrees, but it's touch and go. Basically, everything came to a head when co-worker got really drunk one night and started texting me inappropriately. I made it clear that wasn't okay. I told John about this and he was mad but understanding. Looking back, I should have blocked his number then, but co-worker apologized and I felt sympathetic because I'm an idiot. John was right and I was wrong. I completely misread the situation. The next week he goes on a bender again and crosses some lines more aggressively. I deleted the texts and I finally blocked his number. I don't tell John because I'm an idiot again and don't want to argue about it and I'm worried he will try and fight co-worker. He can tell I've deleted texts and it's obvious to John that something happened but he doesn't push it. Then 2 weeks later when John has cooled down, I tell him the story. He seemed to have known what happened but was waiting for me to come clean. He's understandably very hurt that I lied and that I didn't cut things off with this guy. He's hurt that I deleted texts and was dishonest about it. I am apologetic and he is obviously right. I made the wrong call and got too invested in this friendship with a co-worker who is a jerk. We struggled with this for months before we finally go to counseling because John is still hurt. I am continually apologetic and tried to be supportive of him. Things are up and down since, but generally good. Sometimes it feels like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, but in the last 2 months, we have been better and he has been trusting me more. Now, here we are, 7 months after the co-worker incident. John was out of town for work all last week and I could tell it was making him anxious being away from me. Occasionally, he would make comments and ask questions that felt like accusations, but I brushed a lot of this off. And then tonight, John comes home after having a few beers and out of the blue asks me if I have cheated on him in the past. We are going out of state this weekend to see his family, and he says if I did and I go see his family with him, that's really disrespectful and he needs to know if I have cheated. Of course, we have been through this 100 times already and the answer has never changed. I tell him no, but that if he still has to ask, then it says a lot more than whatever the answer is. He's not aggressive or mean, but the question still hurts me. I try to get to the bottom of it and he goes to bed ignoring me. I'm exhausted from not being trusted. I know that I made a mistake, but no one is perfect and I have been trying so hard to move forward. I keep thinking we are past this and we just aren't. I have asked him over and over what I need to do for us to move forward, paid for expensive counseling sessions, etc. I have no other ideas and I feel like I have done everything I can. I know I messed up, but honestly, I feel like I'm being punished for cheating when I never did anything. Yes, I lied and that was wrong, but I never crossed a line. He still deep down sees me as a cheater and doesn't trust me. I don't know what I can do to change that. At this point, I'm considering going to see my family and staying with them instead of flying out of state to see his family this weekend. My work is incredibly busy this time of year, and this is the only time I get off until mid-January. It's also my birthday this weekend, and I'm graduating college next week. I don't know, I just want to be happy this weekend and don't want to be around someone who is so angry at me. This is supposed to be a special time, and being accused of cheating just makes me feel like crap. I just don't know the right thing to do here. I want to make my marriage work, but I also want to be happy. I don't know if I'm being selfish and need to understand his perspective more. I know I was in the wrong, but how long do I stay in the wrong? I know I can't rush him to forgive me, but I'm not sure how long I want to live like this. Am I being insensitive? Well, OP, I don't think you're being insensitive. I think you are trying your very best to be sensitive, but I think you're not actually getting to see things from his perspective. I mean, you know the whole truth and so does he, logically, but this is emotional. Unfortunately, OP, he can't trust you right now because even though you didn't cross any lines, I mean, you didn't have an emotional or a physical affair, you did lie to him and you did hide something from him. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying this is something to get divorced about, but this is definitely something that you two are going to need to work on together in order to get through it. Now, if constantly apologizing about it and going to expensive counseling sessions has not helped, then OP, this means that there is something else that hasn't been addressed. And whatever that is what's got him thinking that maybe you cheated. Now, I'm sure that logically he knows that you didn't cheat. However, like I said in the beginning, this is not logical. This is emotional. You can't reason trust. You feel it. So at the risk of sounding like beating a dead horse, I think you need to sit down with your husband and talk about what he feels. Don't talk about coworker or what happened with coworker or the texts or anything like that. Don't even apologize, OP. You've done that already. But you need to know what's going on behind this whole thing. And what do you guys think about this whole situation? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. 3JesusFurv says, if your husband came here and told us about the things you did, most people on here would have told them you were cheating. How would you feel if the spouse you think cheated on you suddenly doesn't want to spend time with you but rather with their family and partying? Can you not recover the deleted messages? Like, there is no way you can prove you didn't cheat. He would have to trust you didn't, yet all the signs point that you did. My doc says, your initial sin was relatively small. You realized that you were sexually harassed by your coworker, right? And it's hard in these cases to get to the nuclear option, blocking and no contact, because you have to work with the dude. I think your husband has jealousy issues. I think you know that there's something not right in your marriage. I recommend this often, but please consider couples counseling. You have the right to be happy in your marriage, to be in a relationship where your partner isn't always angry and suspicious. August Westward says, I'm going to go against the status quo here and say your husband is being unreasonable. He can either get over it or he can't, but you can't live in this punishment limbo forever. You aren't responsible for the actions of your coworker. You feel bad that it happened and you've gone through therapy to work through it. Tell him he needs to either believe you or not believe you and go from there on moving forward. What did you say? Says, let me get this straight. You are married and a man texts you sexually and you still think it's okay to be friends with this man? And you do it behind your husband's back? And then he texts you more sexually and you delete all the texts because you don't want your husband to be upset? And you're wondering why he's upset? Yeah, all evidence pointing towards you are cheating. I feel like there's a lot more to this story. You put this all on yourself. If I was your husband, I'd be rethinking this marriage. Anti-Karma98 says, it's your husband's behavior that's out of line. He can tell I've deleted texts. The only way he can tell you've deleted texts is if he's looking closely at your electronics history. And that's, in my opinion, further over the line than your patience with a semi-obnoxious work friend. I'll be downvoted for saying this, but it's okay to lie about things like that, especially when your husband is the kind of man who doesn't trust you to have a male friend, checks your texting history, etc. I know I messed up, you're right, but I don't think you did. Give yourself more credit and explain to hubby that you get to have your own friends and your own life. Cause seriously, if he's this controlling after 5 months of marriage, what's your marriage going to look like after 5 years? Skipping the vacation might give you both the opportunity to think things through. Additional information from OP's comments. I get that it doesn't look good, it really doesn't, but the thing is that it's not exactly the texts he is concerned about. He just can't get over the feeling that something must have happened. The messages are long gone and I don't think they would convince him anyways. And I am trying to see it from his perspective and I don't want him to feel like I don't want to spend time with him. It's just exhausting being the bad guy for 7 months. I know these things don't have time limits, but it's just been hard. It's my birthday and I just want to be around people that support me, and it's hard to feel supported when you're being accused of cheating. Also, coworker has since left this job, thank goodness. Alright, well, OP got some very varied advice from the community, ranging from logical to completely biased. And OP gave us a little bit more context as to what her husband is actually upset about. So now it's time for us to move on with the update to see how this story ends, but of course before that, here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. Now, let's move on with the update. First off, I want to thank everyone who offered their point of view, even if some people were pretty harsh. Seems like everyone was pretty polarized on things, and reading through all the posts, I think that the truth falls somewhere in the middle. I messed up and I betrayed his trust. I can't push him to forgive me and I shouldn't. I likely haven't been as open about reassuring him and conveying my regret as I should have been, and I realize that more now. At the same time, I was put in an awkward situation at work which was hard to navigate, and people make bad calls sometimes. And just for clarity's sake, I never met up with coworker outside of work. We never spent time together one-on-one, and we certainly never had a drink together. The second time coworker and I were texting was in the middle of the day and I had no idea he was drinking. I thought we were having a normal conversation until things went sideways real quick. Should have blocked him the first time he disrespected my marriage and shouldn't have been texting him at all. You live and you learn. Anyways, John was really apologetic as soon as he woke up and continued to apologize throughout the day. When we both got home this evening, we had a long talk about things. I acknowledged that what I did was wrong and that I betrayed him. No matter what happens, what I did will never be okay. I apologized for that and expressed my regret at the same time. I explained that he can't keep accusing me of cheating. I told him I did not cheat and said that was the last time I would answer that question. All I have is my word, and at this point, he has to decide if that's enough. Throwing accusations around right before bed on a weeknight months after all this occurred isn't going to solve anything. He completely agreed that he didn't want to keep going in circles like this. I suggested he approach me differently in the future if he needed reassurance and explained I would be happy to give it to him after everything that happened. He was really receptive to this and agreed to try something different in the future. If he comes to me with insecurities, I'm going to work on being less defensive and more understanding of his pain. We ended things with both agreeing to seek individual counseling. We aren't currently going to couples counseling, but once we sort things out on our own, we will likely go down that road again to continue working on our relationship. We both have a lot of baggage, and it's hard to be in a healthy relationship when neither of us has good models. We're really trying and both committed to making this thing work because we love each other dearly. I realize now that skipping the vacation was just a way to avoid the problem and wasn't productive. I think I still feel guilty and embarrassed of what happened and hate having to deal with it, both on the level of betraying John and on being harassed by a coworker. That's obviously not fair to him because he went through it too. I will definitely be going, and I'm hoping we have a chance to forget about work for the weekend and reconnect. Well, OP, I'm gonna go out on a positive limb and say this is a happy update, or at least it's shaping up to be a happy update. You guys approached each other at a time that both had the right mindset. We need to get through this together, let's solve this. So now you're working on it individually first, and then you'll continue to work on it as a couple. That's great. So here's wishing you, OP, and your husband all the best in the future. Take care and thank you for sharing. Now, let's move on to a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user Plogan56. My friend's cousin complied with his cool family's demands. This happened a while back, maybe 3 to 4 years. My college friend told me about how his cousin basically screwed over his family by moving out when they told him to. Note, to make it easier to follow, I'm gonna use fake names. Cousin is Jack, cousin's sister is Tina, and cousin's parents are Bob and Mary. So Jack is roughly 28 and is still living with his parents, but he pays their bills, electricity, water, internet, etc. And it's a big 2-story house, so the bill is big too. His sister, 24, had left the house by this time and gotten married to a guy that makes good money. She had taken credit for paying the bills and convinced Bob and Mary to kick Jack out because he was a shut-in loser since none of them understood his job. A bit of backstory on their parents. My friend tells me they're like those stereotypical teens in those cliché high school movies. Basically, they look down on nerds and think people who study hard are uncool, that type of thing. Anyway, they kept that mentality even after growing up and having kids. So they always looked down on Jack for being nerdy and favorited Tina because she was pretty and popular in high school. But apparently, Jack didn't really care because in his personal life, he had friends he cared about and he connected more with his relatives. So they all confront him, and after bad-mouthing him about how he stays in his room mostly and how his sister, her husband, and child need the space, they told him he has until the end of the month to leave. This was done close to the first week. Jack didn't say a word, he just nodded and left by the end of that week and moved 3 cities away to a city closer to his other relatives. 2 months go by and his sister calls him asking why this month's bills weren't paid, as their light and water had been shut off. He tells her that she should have paid them since she was allegedly paying them before. About a week goes by and he gets a call from his parents explaining how his sister confessed to everything and how he can come back and have his old room back so long as he keeps helping them pay the bills. He refused, saying he's enjoying living by himself now and how he can focus on his work more because he's away from them. Afterward, he blocked their numbers and now they have to pay for it themselves. He doesn't know what happened after because they're no longer invited to family gatherings. Aw, Jack, that's just mean. Why wouldn't you move back in and pay your parents' bills? I mean, you get your old room back and of course you get those roommates that constantly harass you. That's awesome. Yeah, of course that's sarcasm. Good for you, Jack. Thank you so much for sharing, OP. This was an awesome story. Now, we still have some time left in the video, so how about we squeeze in another mood booster? And it's also from Malicious Compliance and it's by user Viva Ivisa. Restaurants only give discounts on phone orders. Okay then. I only live 5 minutes walk away from a local pizza place, so I went in and ordered direct takeaway. I didn't call ahead as I didn't see much point as I lived so close and I didn't mind the extra couple of minutes. While there, I saw they were doing a special offer, 10% discount if you mentioned their promotion over the phone and then went in to collect takeaway. So I say, I know I haven't called in first, but now I know you do a discount if you do. And to save us both the hassle of me calling you right now, and for the fact I know the promotion exists, can I still get the 10% off anyway? No, it's for telephone orders only. Sure, I get that, but I could literally just call you right now from my mobile and you'd give me the discount, but that'll be a bit weird to make me do that. So can I just get it anyway? No, it's for telephone orders only. This job worth's attitude pissed me off, so I was literally about to just forget about buying anything from them and go somewhere else. But as I got outside, I figured that no, I'd just stand outside and call the number on their door and order a pizza that way to get my discount. The phone rang and the same guy picked it up. Can I order a pizza to collect with a 10% discount, please? He recognizes my voice, obviously, as it's just been 15 seconds since we were speaking inside. He looks outside at me. I smile and wave. He looks pissed off that he has given me my discount now. He takes my order and says it'll be 10 minutes. During the next 10 minutes, while waiting for my discounted pizza, someone else is about to come in the restaurant and order a takeout. I ask them if they have phoned ahead for the discount or not. They didn't realize that was a thing. No problem, buddy. I'll do it for you. What do you want? I call the same number again. The same guy answers and hears my voice again and looks straight at me again. I smile and wave again and proceed to order this random stranger's pizza order for them whilst maintaining eye contact with them. My friend would also like the 10% telephone discount. He looks like he's gonna pop a blood vessel but has no choice but to accept it. After all, I didn't enforce the rules, he did. A week later, the telephone order discount is cancelled completely, and it's simply given if you have a menu, and there are menus at the entrance anyway, so you'd be crazy not to see it and use it. Well, OP, you just found a loophole in their marketing strategy, so good for you. Thank you for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.